These are the signs that your wife is emotionally checking out and what it means for you. You're listening to the Be Better podcast. I'm Harrison Orr. And after being a reactive, disconnected nice guy on the brink of divorce, I am now leading myself and my marriage from a place of deep connection, fulfillment, and authenticity. And now I teach men how to do the exact same. See, most men will notice the signs only in hindsight that their wife is checking out, they're disconnected, right? They're not attuned or paying attention. Maybe they do see the signs. Maybe they do realize like, oh, that conversation didn't used to go that way. Maybe we're not as connected as we used to be. We don't have, any fun moments anymore. But then they kind of brush it off. Like, oh, well, I've just been busy. She's been stressed. We've both been tired. It's just this season of life. It's just this thing that we put it down to, and it'll sort itself out. As soon as the kids go back to school, as soon as the business is over this hump, as soon as she finishes her period, whatever the fucking excuse is, as soon as we get to this mystery line, everything will just magically go back to normal. Is they're looking at her instead of looking at themselves. Because every sign that she gives you is a lagging indicator. Because it didn't start with her. It started weeks, if not months earlier, in the way that you were showing up in the moments that you probably don't even remember. So this episode might feel uncomfortable because I'm going to show you both sides. I'm going to show you what's going on for her, what she's tried, what she's feeling, but also what happened from your side before she started doing it. Probably something that you didn't even know. She didn't even consciously clock, but just started to put up these walls, to slowly withdraw, to, I don't want to say, well, maybe if it's that bad, maybe even plan an exit or just become more independent. Like, oh, learning that these conversations go the same way every time. So what's the point? He said he'd done that before, but he never does. Like, cool, can't trust him now either. And these things start to stack. So the first sign that we're going to go through is when she stops bringing things to you first. Like there used to be things that she would come to you with, problems, things that she would share to you. And instead now, maybe she handles it herself, or she goes to her friends or her mum, or she just figures it out on her own. She uses ChatGPT, doesn't really need your input anymore. And you only then find out after she's already spoken to these people, after the problem's already solved, or after it's maybe escalated because that approach didn't work. It's now a bigger problem. The reason that, oh, sorry, what's happening underneath her seeking other people, right? Instead of going to bringing these problems to you, is not because she wants to all of a sudden be independent. She doesn't want your help anymore. There's a part of her that's protecting herself because at some point in the past she brought things to you, and the response was defensiveness or shutdown or immediate solution when a solution wasn't warranted without listening to what she was actually feeling. And none of that gave her closure, gave her what she wanted from you in that moment. And ultimately said, like, what she ultimately learned, I can't bring this to him. He's either going to get defensive, he will justify, he will shut down. Like, I won't get what I need from him. So what's the point? And so she stopped bringing those things to you, and her nervous system part of her learned just like, oh, well, bring things to him just creates more problems than it solves. Like one of the guys I'm working with now who has had a phenomenal transformation in himself and his life over the last 10 weeks. Just quick insight. He'd been given a 9 to 10 month ultimatum before we started working together. They were sleeping in separate beds, not sure if this was ever going to work. He tried years of therapy, years of counseling, and was on the same cycle where things would be shit. He would go to the therapist, do some counseling, try something, and things would be better for a little bit, for a few weeks, for a few months, and then eventually either complacency would kick in, something stressful would happen to trigger that old pattern, and eventually he would be back in the same cycle. His wife got sick of those cycles and said, "Cool, you've got this time to change for like moving forward. Otherwise, I'm not going to stick around to watch this movie play out that I've seen 100 times." And 10 weeks in, sorry, 6 weeks in, he said, "I don't even feel the need to defend myself anymore. Like, I don't even feel the defensiveness or the reactive come up. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's just not there. I don't have to consciously bite my tongue or consciously not say something. It just doesn't happen." Bigger win than he got in the years of therapy and counseling. 10 weeks in, and they're back sleeping in the same bedroom. Feels like a completely new relationship. Rebuilding trust, rebuilding the connection, and actually feel like they're on the same team. 10 fucking weeks. Really cool. But one of the things, the reason I bring that up is because one of the things that he said to me when we first started is his wife stopped bringing things to him because she even said, "Well, whenever I bring these things to you, now I've got two problems. I've got the one that I started with, and now I've got your reaction to it." And so she learned that what's the fucking point? I don't really want to deal with one, let alone two problems. So that creates the distance. That's one of the reasons where she then said, "Well, it's not worth it." And what you were like, if you've been in that space where your wife has started to not bring these things to you, she started to handle it on her own, what was happening on your end? You were probably trying to fix something without listening to the actual concern. Maybe defending before actually understanding what she was upset about. Trying to protect your self image over the emotions of your wife or over the connection in the marriage. Maybe just going quiet when she needed you to stay present, like withdrawing, just not knowing what to say or what to do when she just needed you to feel her. She just needed to feel that you were there. And ultimately making her feel like a burden for having these emotions and needs. And that's not how we want to feel toward our partner. We want to feel that we can bring things to them, that they can handle what we bring to them, and that they're going to be there to be there with us, to support us with it. But if they feel like you're not there, well, those protective strategies kick in and say, well, it's not worth it. Let's go try a different avenue. So they go to their friends, their mum, ChatGPT, or anything else. Sign number two is conversations get shorter and more practical. Like the conversations that you do have with your wife are always about logistics, about bills, about kid schedules, about, things, little Billy needs for school or for sport this weekend. And, you ask the general questions of, how are you? How was your day? And, good, not bad, fine, you. Like surface level answers where everybody's on autopilot and it's not a real answer because it's not a real question either. Like, how are you? How was your day? With no follow up or just as an intro to how you're seeing each other is going to be one of the laziest ways to try to start a conversation. Like, guys, we can do better than that because how often when you see someone, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Like, and you don't even think about your answer. Good, not bad, busy. You give a pre-recorded response every fucking time. So if you're not present asking the question, she's not going to be present in answering the question. And it's just going to be lip service in which no one really is present, no one really interacts. And so maybe in the past, she's tried to have a real conversation with you. She's tried to express something, to talk about an emotion or a situation. And maybe it ended up going in fucking circles where she was trying to communicate a need. You didn't fully understand the need and were focused on the words and the surface level of things. And then it just went in circles. You'd explain or defend or maybe just check out and it it didn't go anywhere. Maybe she got frustrated, you got confused as like, what do you want from me? And conversations just learn to be surface level, like the logistics. Like, okay, cool. That's something that I know we can talk about without someone taking it personally, without someone getting triggered. And it just becomes all the shit that you've swept under the rug. Ah, cool. I can't talk about the thing that he didn't do because he'll get upset. I can't talk about this because he'll take it personally. I can't talk about that because it last time it caused a fight. And you limit all the stuff that you can talk about, and then eventually there's nothing left. There's just the logistics, and there's no emotion involved. There's no depth. And that emotion and depth is what creates a loving, fulfilling relationship, especially for feminine, for our female partners. That depth and that emotion is what they fucking crave. Like maybe your wife hasn't explicitly said this, or maybe you've seen other people online say this. Well, they want your emotional availability. You're like, what the fuck does that mean? It's like she wants to feel you. She wants to feel that you are there, that you give a shit, that you're in this with her. But for you, if you've got all these protective strategies, that depth is going to feel unsafe or maybe even pointless. Like, I'm a man. I don't have emotions. I suppress that shit. I bury that stuff down. I learned that strategy from dad when I was a kid. It's vulnerable and it's bad and makes you weak to have emotions. So push that shit down. It's not important. And so she will match that to protect herself by keeping it practical, keeping things focused on logistics. And so if she's tried to get through to deeper conversations and it's always been met with reactivity or an explanation or a defense or just withdrawing, like not knowing how to handle the situation or what's needed from you in that moment, it gets exhausting. You're like, oh. Like imagine if you had an employee or you had someone where every time you tried to share something with them, like some maybe some feedback or something, and every single time they took it the wrong way. Like eventually you're just like, oh man, you just roll your eyes, you just get frustrated, like that you just took that in a complete way that it wasn't intended. Like, it was not about that at all. It wasn't about you at all, but you made it about you. And eventually you either fire that person or you stop just having those conversations because you're like, it goes in circles. Like it's frustrating. And trust me, I know what it's like to feel that way. Even now, I look back on the man that I used to be, or maybe the boy that I used to be. Whenever I used to, outsource all of my decisions and everything to my wife, and say, whatever you want, up to you, and like just not make a decision and allow, but just not with my wife, with friends or with other people as well. And looking back, I think now how fucking annoying. Like someone has just asked for your input for what you think or what you feel, and you've said, "Well, I'm not up to you." Like, how fucking annoying and inefficient is that? Like, I'm frustrated at my old self for doing that. So just think about it that way. Like, someone is clearly trying to communicate with you for a reason, so show up. So, what actually led to this point? What you may have been doing to get to contribute to this pattern is maybe half listening. Right? Like, oh, you heard a couple of keywords while you were either disconnected or not fully present or on your phone, whatever you're doing, cutting in with solutions, checking your phone while she's talking, like not fully present, and making her feel like whatever she's trying to share just wasn't interesting or just wasn't important to you. And to be blunt, like you don't give a fuck. And now you might say, like, oh, well, I do care. I do. Of course I care about her. It's like, yeah, but she doesn't feel like you care about her. That's the difference. And so when your partner wants to have these conversations, it's like if you shut down in these conversations, like you get to certain emotions or things that you don't that you want to avoid, that you skim over, that you make a joke with to get out of feeling that tension or that emotion. Amazing. That's not a communication problem. That's a you problem. Like, and I mean that in the best possible way. I mean that you don't feel safe. There's a part of you that doesn't feel safe experiencing that emotion. And so you can't feel it for yourself. So you won't allow your partner to feel it because you don't know how to handle it. It's like if you see crying as a weakness, you're not going to know how to be present for someone who is crying or someone who is upset. You're going to want to stop them from crying as fast as possible. They're there. It's not that bad. You'll be okay. Or you jump to a silver lining, or you try to make a joke, or you try to just do anything to stop that emotion right then because you don't feel safe in it. That is something for you to work on. And now, by extension of this, if you aren't able to love yourself, you're not going to be able to love your partner and your kids to the extent that you want to. And you're not going to be able to receive their love either, because you can only understand and love anybody to the depth in which you can love and understand yourself. So if you don't feel safe in any of these emotions or these topics, it's because there's something in you that needs work. So that's why I strongly believe like our marriage and our kids are mirrors or tormentors, as some people put. We get reflected back the parts that we haven't owned, the things that we need to work on. And then when we get to see them as such, we get to see them as the blessing that they are instead of the burden and just trying to blame everybody else. So sign number 3, when she says things like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. Forget it. Never mind. Do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. I'll figure it out." When she says it like that, she has started to say something that's on her mind, on her heart, and then it was either something on your face or your energy or your body language or something that you even said that basically interrupted that pattern of hers and told her it wasn't safe to finish. So, "Oh, this conversation is not going where I want it to do. Want it to. Don't even worry about it. I'll figure it out." Too hard basket. So she shuts down. It's not because she's now found this magical reason that she doesn't need to share it anymore, the solution that she needed. It's giving up. It's a woman who's decided this particular conversation just isn't worth what it's going to cost her. "Oh, this is going somewhere that I never meant it to. Just don't even worry about it." It's her cutting off before the one issue becomes two. It's like it's the pattern recognition of, "I see where this conversation goes. Don't worry about it. Kill it now." And then every time she says, "Forget it," or "It's fine. Don't worry about it," and you just drop it and think, "Oh, cool. That was easy," and just let her go on her way, it starts to create more of that distance. It's like he didn't pick up. He didn't realize that I was frustrated. He didn't realize what he was doing in that moment. He doesn't come after me and doesn't try to understand what I was trying to say. I don't matter enough to him. And then so some men are gonna be like, "Oh, well, that's just their communication problem. They're just poor communicators. They should just fucking grow up and be adults about it." Cool. Keep running that story and that approach, man. How's that working for you? If that works for you and you're happy in your marriage, then keep running that story. If you're not, maybe it's worth looking in the mirror and looking at how you're contributing to this. Because as the leader, being the man, we get to go first, which means we get to have the opportunity to expand our emotional intelligence and understand what emotion she's feeling and where she's coming from. Sitting back and saying, "Oh, well, she needs to just fucking say what she wants," and meh, 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 like, that's not going to work. Keep trying and see how that works out for you. Just quickly, mate, if you feel stuck in your marriage, if your marriage is not in the state that you want it to be, and you recognize that you need to change first, but you don't know where to start, I've created something for you. It's called the Husband Performance Score. 12 questions. It'll take you 3 to 4 minutes, and it'll show you exactly how you're showing up and contributing to the state of the marriage, exactly what you need to change and do about it in the form of a personalized profile and roadmap to get you from where you are closer to the man and the marriage that you want to have. The link is in the show notes. The husband performance score. Now back to the episode. Got you to this point. If she's saying, fine, forget it, all those things, it's the sigh whenever she brings things up, like, what do you want now? Like the eye roll, the looking away, trying to just rush through the emotion or rush to the solution of like, here, like just do this. Like, what are you so stressed about? Don't worry about it. Trying to minimize anything, ultimately making her feel like she was inconveniencing you by having something to say. Like it was such a drain on your day for her to have this thing, and now she's been shut down. She's feeling like you don't even care. And sign number 4, the physical affection becomes routine, if at all, or it just completely goes out the window. So the previous touches of affection, like the hug from behind, the hand on the lower back as you're standing in the kitchen doing things, the the nice, welcoming, loving kiss on the lips turns into the quick peck on the cheek. She doesn't really reach for you on the couch anymore. Doesn't want to hold your hand as you're driving. You go to bed on separate sides, and you feel like you're just miles away. Like, even when you do physically touch, it just feels like there's no connection or warmth there. It's just cold. Like you may as well be shaking the hand of a stranger. Because, and most men will make the mistake here of like, oh, we're not having enough sex, so we need to improve our sex life. And so we'll say that, oh, well, I have physical needs, or sex is my love language. Physical touch is my love language. Fucking joke. But, um, and then try to almost use that to pressure her into intimacy. But for a woman, physical intimacy is downstream of emotional safety. Let me say that again. Her desire for you, her wanting to be intimate with you, is downstream of emotional safety. She can't open her body to a man her nervous system doesn't feel safe around. And that's not a choice that she's making consciously. It's just physiological. Like when she doesn't feel seen, heard, feel safe, she closes up. And it's not to punish you specifically. It's because her body doesn't want to. Like physical and sexual receptivity and openness for a woman is downstream of when she feels seen, she feels heard, she feels safe, she feels chosen, she feels important to you. And so it's not that she's withholding the sex to punish you. She's just protecting herself. And so expecting her to meet your physical needs without you meeting her emotional needs is just rude. And it's a surefire way to add pressure into a relationship and give you more problems than you've already got. Understanding those emotional needs and meeting those can be so simple. Like, you don't need to sit there and listen to her tell you her life story and have her sobbing on the couch, and then you be this vulnerable, emotional wreck as well. She just needs to feel appreciated. Seen in the sense that you see what she's doing for you, for the kids, for the house, for the family, for the marriage, and express that appreciation. You don't have to change a fucking thing, but just expressing like, babe, I see how hard you've been working lately, and I see that, the thing that you do for the kids, the way that you greet them, first thing in the morning, even when you're tired and you've had a shit night's sleep, and you lift that energy up for them. I see how much you love our kids. I just want to say that I see you for that, and thank you. And when she wants to feel heard, like not that you can parrot back the words that she said, but that you can understand the meaning underneath them. The meaning that, you know, she doesn't matter that you left the dishes in the sink. Like, yeah, that's pretty annoying, but what matters more is that she asked you not to. Or she just spent 2 hours cleaning the kitchen and you put dirty shit in there. So instead of her getting to relax and spend time with the family, she now has to clean up even further, clean up after you like she's your mother. understanding these things, once you get it, it becomes so much easier. It's not like, okay, I need to put direct time into making my wife feel seen and heard and understand, like doing all these things. They just come in these micro moments that stack up to making her feel safe, making her feel like you give a shit, making her feel like she can come to you and share whatever's on her heart, and you're going to be there with her. You can take ownership if that's required. You can be present for whatever she says if that's what required. You can provide a solution if that's what's required. But you have the emotional attunement and intelligence to be able to either ask or even just discern what's needed in that moment. Because up until now, you've probably been emotionally unavailable during a day and then reaching for her at night. She's like, well, fucking hold up. I had these needs and I brought this stuff to you earlier and you brushed me off. Like she's not going to maybe think that consciously, but that's why her body's going to retract because you haven't noticed those small moments that build that safety throughout the day. And then reacting in ways that made her feel like she had to manage your emotions and walk on eggshells instead of actually relax is what contributes to that. I've said it a thousand fucking times. If your intimacy and your bedroom activities are struggling, they are downstream of what happens outside the bedroom. Feeling connected, creating emotional safety, being playful, meeting emotional needs outside the bedroom will 99% of the time take care of bedroom activities. It will have her wanting to initiate with you. It will have her coming to you and being receptive to when you do, instead of shutting you down and her going to bed thinking, "Fuck, I hope he doesn't try and touch me. I hope he doesn't do this because I'm not in the mood. I'm too tired. I'm not in the mood for even receiving his love right now because that underlying feeling is not safety. Maybe there's a bit of frustration or resentment. Like there's a feeling of like my needs don't matter, but yet he's going to try and get his need met. That's not fair. All right. Last sign we're going to go through today is when she stops arguing. This is where a lot of men make the mistake of thinking, well, we haven't had an argument in so long. Things must be getting better. Things are quieter. Maybe things are more peaceful. My friend, when the fights get less frequent, if you haven't changed anything, and she starts to let go of those things that she used to push on, the moments that used to have those disagreements, things are not improving. That is one of the signs that she is pulling back. She is checking out. She is realizing that it's not worth it. She's stopped believing that it will change. She's probably tried to escalate things so many times, and it's been met with the same response, the same lack of ownership, the same defensiveness, reactivity, withdrawal, the same lack of change. Because if she's fighting, that requires hope. That's the energy, that's the love in her. I know it doesn't feel like it, but coming out in a way, pleading for you to fucking take notice and change. And I get it, man. I get it. I lived that. I didn't listen for ages. It literally took my wife sobbing, staring me in the eyes to say, I can't fucking do this anymore. For it to pierce my heart and for me to wake the fuck up to actually hear what she was saying. So I get it. But if you don't heed those warnings, then it's not going to get any better on its own. If she's still fighting, it means she still thinks there's a part of you that might hear her. She has hope that you'll hear her, that you'll change, that you'll like listen to her. But when she goes quiet, she's not just given up on the conversation. And part of her is starting to give up on you. Now, there's still the hope that you can change, but there's a part of her that's withdrawing. She's starting to see the proof. I've been trying to bring this to him, trying to get through to him, saying this for months, for years. But every time I do, it always leads to the same situation of no change, another argument, no connection. And a woman who isn't fighting isn't peaceful. She's grieving. And so that silence or peace that you might have labeled this because of the lack of arguing, are you sure? Are you sure it's not just distance? Because, and this is the difference between a man who is in his body and a man who is stuck in his head. Silence does not equal presence. Silence does not equal peace. It can also mean withdrawal. And that's why you can be on different wavelengths of you being quiet in an argument, thinking you're being present, thinking you're just giving her space or whatever you tell yourself. But she experiences it as withdrawal because she doesn't feel you there anymore. It feels like you've checked out. So if you've been trying to win these arguments instead of get to a point of understanding, if you've unconsciously made her feel stupid or dramatic for bringing things up, or maybe never actually changed anything the way that the conversation ended, maybe never taken any ownership, maybe never tried to understand why she feels the way that she does. And now you might say, "Well, I understand, and it's fucking stupid. Well, she's wrong, or that's not what happened, or any of the logical reasons, or whatever quote unquote proof you have for this." It's not about that. It's not about you don't even have to agree with her perspective. But what's important is that you understand it. Like it's important. What will make her feel understood and make her feel seen is that you can understand why she feels that way, why she interpreted what you said or what you did in the way that she did, why she is thinking and feeling and said the things that she did. And until you can understand that and genuinely be able to say, oh, well, that makes sense. I can see why, if after you had that stressful day and you came home and the kitchen was a mess and I said, oh, I would do it and I didn't do it, that you would be really upset and really frustrated. I'd be pretty frustrated and annoyed as well. I didn't apologize. I didn't do anything. I just validated that she is perfectly valid, perfectly right for feeling it the way that she does. And now if you say, well, I don't agree with that. Well, I don't think she's right. Well, that's your fucking problem, man. Put your ego down and try to understand her. Because until you do, you're going to keep getting closer to a divorce. That's your understanding. And yeah, you might have to bite your tongue. But if she just understood the story, there was an excuse for this or that. Excuses and the justifications and the story does not matter right now. She doesn't care for it. Doesn't care how logical it is. What she cares about is that you understand her reality and more importantly, that you care to understand. Again, you don't have to agree. There's not even an apology here. It's literally understanding why she thinks and feels that way. That is often the solution to most of this. And it's not even a solution. Like, you don't have to really do anything off the back of this most of the time. It's literally just hearing her out. So now here's what I want you to sit with. None of these signs started with her. Every single one is a response to something you were doing or not doing in the weeks and months before it appeared. She's not checking out because she stopped loving you. She's checking out because loving you started to cost her too much. It didn't feel good anymore. She couldn't reach you anymore. And the painful part is she's probably tried to tell you multiple ways, but in ways you didn't recognize as the message that they were. Forget it. The shorter conversations, the pulling back, maybe the withholding of sex, because that one you paid attention to. Those are all attempts to communicate something that she didn't have the words for, or she had tried and she felt unheard. It didn't get the message through because nothing changed. And that's a powerful message. That's a stab to a lot of men's ego. But she's not withholding sex to punish you. And you should probably thank her for it because she tried to get the message through multiple other ways. And so she took something off the table that she knew that you would fucking notice. And if you only push to get sex back on the table instead of looking at what created that situation, then you'll miss the point and you won't actually solve the root cause of this. Good news is none of these signs are permanent. They're all protective. If she's still in the house with you, if she's still fighting to get this message through to you, there's still hope. These are just protective strategies, and these protection strategies will dissolve when safety returns, when there is consistency, when there is congruency, when you can be that safe space, when she shares that emotion, when you can take that ownership, when you don't get defensive, when you can stay present, when you cannot pressure her into sex at the slightest hint of physical touch or closeness, where you can just allow that. And all this comes from being a man whose nervous system stops treating his home like a threat, whose parts stop running defensive patterns before she's even finished her sentence, and whose identity shifts at a level deep enough that she feels it before he said a word. You become a man who proves he has changed by his actions, by the way he shows up, not through stating it, not so through some big grand gesture or speech, but in the ways that he shows up in all of these moments. So if any of these signs landed, any of these you see these in your marriage right now, or you heard yourself in any of those, like what you were doing in these moments, you recognize that. It's not something to feel shame about. It's just a recognition of that's why the situation is that it is. And that's the starting point. Don't be sorry. Be better. Bye.